Awards.com, a website to find the latest and greatest website designs that push the current web design trends to the edge, putting your first Behance project to shame. The process is simple. Give them $65 USD, a URL, and your website will be reviewed by a special design team from around the world. Then, if you're good enough to get an honorable mention or a site of the month, then you can add the award to the side of your website for bragging rights. I remember when I was a baby web developer, fresh from the womb, finding and exploring different sites and thinking just how cool websites could be made with just some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It was eye-opening to see the possibilities and what could be done. It made web design feel limitless. These websites were often not just normal websites that looked pretty, they were experiences. You could sit there and experience these sites as if it were a movie or a video game. You could find anything from minimal, modern, brutalism, flat, isometric, web design styles, all with a modern take, designed from the best designers and developers all around the world. I remember feeling inspired by these websites, thinking how I could strive to make one just like it, and even earn a ribbon award to put on the side of one of my own websites. I would just have to learn 10 different JavaScript libraries, take some design courses, come up with a wireframe, upgrade it to a low-res mockup, and then again to a high-res mockup. Then I could finally be creating as great websites as the designers and developers on awards.com, right? Well, what I didn't know at the time is these sites I once dreamed of creating myself would turn into the kind of websites I would avoid making. Let's talk about why. Specifically, why these sites are pretty on the surface, but are actually hiding some fundamental flaws that make me cringe at them. It all starts in the early days of web design, where websites used to look like this, and this, and this. Well, to today's standards, these are pretty boring. Web design continued to evolve as it always has, and websites got to be more than just some information. They were canvases where artists could create unique designs and experiences that make the website stand out, which is where the problems begin, standing out. Every now and again, there's some decision maker that likes to get involved in the website building process. Let's call him Chad. Now, Chad usually has very little understanding of what a website is. He'll typically push it to make it as pretty and visually stimulating as possible, unknowingly by the sacrifice of user experience. Chad is also the guy coming up with tons of ideas on how to do just that, but with a layman's perspective. Chad usually jumps straight to animations, sliders, complex and cumbersome features, untraditional layouts and styles, and even far too minimal designs. The problem with all these ideas is that they end up burying the single most important aspect of a website, information. Some of these websites are so based around shiny object syndrome that you're a minute into being on the website and you still don't know what it's about. Just to consume some content, you have to wait for the loading bar to finish because the website is so bulky from Chad's feature requests, wait for the animations to finish because Chad thinks they look cool, and try to read between the lines of Chad's vague, shortened wording just so it leaves room for the designers to play around with some typography. All these hurdles to get to the information add up, creating a negative or simply ineffective user experience. Websites need to be designed around the information, not the other way around. Information is the reason why people go to websites. Once you start to add in all these bad user experience hurdles just to get to it, you waste people's time and potentially lose out on customers. I should mention that not every website on Awards is like this. However, there is a large sum that are. And I'm not trying to trash talk these websites because I'm jealous of their design skills. I know they are better designers than me. But if you go on some of these websites thinking about user experience, you'll see some very clear UX-specific sacrifices that were done just to make the websites look prettier or stand out more. Imagine if I were a 50-year-old dude who just got home from bingo trying to hire someone off this site. This barely looks like your typical website anymore. There's just too much Chad. To summarize, just be wary about what you use as inspiration on awards.com. There are websites on there that somehow make you feel both enchanted and confused at the same time. But there are some seriously great websites on there that are as pretty as Chad wants it to be, but still has the proper user experience practices in mind that enable users to get the information they came for. Like this one, for example. Those were just some of my thoughts on awards.com. If you want to become a better web designer or developer, check out my other videos and maybe you could become less like Chad.